Images are powerful. Yesterday's photograph of the Queen meeting her latest great-grandchild depicted a very modern royal family, an image that showed a meeting of generations and races. Fast forward a few hours, another image linked to the royal birth from a BBC presenter also went viral, but for the wrong reasons. The 5 Live presenter Danny Baker tweeted a black and white photo of a well-dressed couple holding the hands of a baby chimp, dressed up in human clothing with the caption, "Royal baby leaves hospital." He deleted the tweet and apologised after others pointed out to him the racist connotations. The BBC fired him this morning and has decided not to show the offensive tweet on air. We invited Danny Baker onto the programme, but he declined. Henry Bonsu is a former presenter who worked on BBC London alongside him, and William Sitwell left editing Waitrose food magazine after joking about killing vegans. Welcome to both of you this evening. Henry, if I could start with you. You've worked with him. What do you think, or what was going through his mind when he decided this was OK to post? It's
difficult to know because although I worked at BBC London at the same time as Dan, I mean, he bestrode the studio like a colossus and I was just some kind of minnow floating around. He is, by his own admission, a broadcasting legend, you know, finger on the pulse. He is very, very fluent and very impressive. But I come to bury Danny, sadly, not to praise him, because given how witty and clever he is, I think he knew what he was saying. I think it was a form of dog whistle, telling his audience, and he's got a lot of fans, people who really love him in his style, that, do you see what I see? Because his explanation that he would have said this about any royal baby, or even Boris Johnson's child, needs testing. Where are those pictures? When William and Kate had their 1, 2, 3 children, did he say the same thing about any of their babies? No, he didn't, which leads me to think it's implausible. His explanation is as implausible as the one given by Roseanne Barr when she tweeted a picture of Valerie Jarrett, Obama's former advisor, next to a picture of Planet of the Apes, and then claimed she was speaking on behalf of Israelis and she was against anti-Semitism. It wasn't plausible then, and I don't think Danny's explanation is implausible now.
So for you, there's no way he couldn't have known that tweeting a picture of a chimp after a mixed-race baby was born was anything other than racist?
He may now be saying what he was in his mind was not racist, but I don't understand where he can get that from. He's a very clever guy, very witty. As one of his former colleagues said today, he's either a fool or he's racist, and he's certainly not a fool.
William, do you have any sympathy for Danny Baker?
I mean, I feel for him probably this evening. You know, there he is sitting at home listening to the country discussing how stupid he is, and that's quite an uncomfortable position. And I think also it doesn't really matter how intense and genuine his apology would be, or anyone else in that position, because the sort of vultures and the crows of social media kind of fetishise the gorging on the entrails, on the corpse of people like him and his career.
Well, he didn't necessarily help, though, did he? Because with his apology, I'm sorry just to say, but sorry my gag of the little fella in the posh outfit has whipped some up. It never occurred to me because, well, mine not diseased. I mean, even in his apology, it was kind of a deflection.
Yes, no, his apology wasn't particularly fulsome. I'm sure he was trying to make a very clever point about the vacuity of monarchy and the grotesque obsequiousness of the media. But of course, you know,
with that picture, is that what you could see or plausibly say?
No, his picture choice was absolutely extraordinary and immensely stupid.
And it makes you wonder what he saw in that particular baby and that couple that he didn't see in William and Kate.
Yeah. Also, what did he Google? That was the other question.
He clearly was determined to find...
When you get the news that the royal baby's been born...
That he knows about this image and he's finally found a moment to post it. Now, it was stupid. I think you know, the wider point is that I think, you know, humanity, in order to be able to progress, has to be able to allow for redemption and forgiveness. And I think the Danny Baker example is not a great example of this because I think it was quite obviously, you know, there is a very clear interpretation of racism. It is as appalling as throwing bananas at black players on a football pitch.
But he has repeatedly said he didn't mean it in that way.
And I
he
don't
isn't
believe he
racist.
did, and I think he was incredibly naive to do so. But my point is that you have to be able to forgive people. They have to be able to move on. You have to be able to redeem yourself.
But they have to own what they've done, and he pushed back, telling other people they had diseased minds, and then apparently was very rude to the BBC guy who rang him this morning and decided it was about class and he wasn't going to be talked down to. So he decided to turn defence into attack, and that hasn't worked.
Henry, can I just push back on one thing, which is that, of course, you mentioned his broadcasting prowess.
Yep.
A lifetime of work undone by a single tweet. Is it right that somebody should lose their job with that as the context?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes, yes. It happened to Ron Atkinson. It happened to Carol Thatcher. I mean, when Danny Baker's epitaph is written, I don't think people will talk just about this. He has a very, very good body of work. I've listened to him, and at times I've been a fan. But unfortunately, he hasn't owned what he's done.
He hasn't owned what he's done. William, you've been in one of these Twitter storms. You've sort of hung out to dry after this joke about you killing vegans went viral. What's your take on sort of trial by Twitter?
I think it's very unfair. I think people deliberately choose to misunderstand for their own gratuitous pleasure things that people say and mistakes that people make. I think you have...
But even if they don't misunderstand it, you know, is it a situation where you think that there should be immediate forgiveness as well as immediate opprobrium?
I'd say immediate forgiveness. But when you see people on Twitter lining up to bring someone down, I think it leaves a fairly nasty taste in your mouth. And, you know, there, but for the grace of God go I. And I think that people need to be more forgiving. And it's so easy to sit there on your phone, sending out abusive messages to celebrities and people in the public eye who have cocked up. Because...
Don't check your Twitter after this programme.
Well, you know, you should probably never really check your notifications.
Henry, do you think that there's now a change of behaviour possibly coming about from people with these sorts of platforms?
I think so. Probably in the States, you know, certainly after Roseanne Barr, some people would have minded their P's and Q's. But, I mean, people forget very quickly. Because, I mean, you know, people are living in a constant present, and many broadcasters, and we've got big egos, believe our hype and our echo chamber can sometimes make us think we're impregnable. Jeremy Clarkson and others sometimes feel, wow, I'm this Don, no one can touch me. And you put out stuff to make your audience happy, for them to salivate. It's red meat, and it could very well be that even if he's not a racist, he threw them a bone.
Or the meat was off. Final word, very briefly.
Too often, too many great broadcasters are then replaced by celebrities whose key thing is to be as bland as possible and for which they get paid a fortune.
Well, we shall see. Henry, William, you weren't bland. Thank you very much for your time.